Smoke Screen Podcast is brought to you by Creative Designs and More. It's Creative Designs, the letter N, More. Check out Wanda at Creative Designs and More on Facebook, or you can also check her out on TikTok at C Wanda B. That's SEE Wanda B. The letter B, man. I'm gonna tell you, y'all see my lighters I have, man. She does a great job. Any kind of party favor you need, coming to your party to design it, just let Wanda handle it, and I bet you she'll make it right for you. I promise you, man. Knock on wood, man. I promise you, dog. I would not lie to you. You ain't never lied to you on Smoke Screen, man. Make sure you checking out Creative Designs and More, man. Wanda will set you straight. I promise you, we'll get you right, man. Make sure you checking her out. And that's for our sponsors for today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of Smoke Screen Podcast. Well, today it's not Smoke Screen Podcast. We always Smoke Screen Podcast, but today it's like an episode you haven't heard from this podcast ever. It's something new I thought about over the summer, and I thought about when to release it. And I was like, man, school start August 10th. For Leon County, let's go ahead and do it August 10th, because it's something I want you to vibe with. Taking your child to school, taking your kids to school, taking whoever you taking to school. If you going to school, listen to it, man. We're just gonna give you some historical black figures who I think don't get a lot of light shined on them. I'm gonna tell you today, this dude I did research on. I'm gonna tell you, man. Every video I saw of him, you'll hear in the story about you'll hear in the episode about the story, dog. But every video I watched of him, everything I read up on him, man, you almost want to tear up hearing about the stuff that he had to go through and hearing about the things that he overcame, man, and then the things that, you know what I'm saying, that, man, he just, nobody really talks about him. As far as athletes, man, I'm talking about Arthur Ashe Jr., man. Oh, man, we in the intro right now, but I'm going to flow with it, dog. But, dog, Arthur Ashe, man, I'm going to tell you just from my perspective, just reading up on him, dog, like I said, you feel the pain of that dude, but at the same time you like, man, this dude's strong, bro. Like I posted on social media today. Follow me on Smoke Screen Podcast on IG. I think it's Smoke Screen. Yeah, Smoke Screen Podcast. 91 Smoke everywhere. One Smoke underscore screen underscore on Twitter. Man, I called him the gentle giant, bro, because he wasn't giant in his stature, but the way he held himself was like a giant, dog. The way he kept his composure. Larry June, I listen to Larry June, man. Larry June say you can't call yourself a man if you can't keep your composure, dog. And you're hearing a story, man. Arthur Ashe did nothing throughout his whole life but keep his composure. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to go ahead and get into this episode, man. And we're going to go ahead and get into it, dog. It's going to be a good one, man. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Appreciate y'all for taking the time with me, man. All right, so Arthur Ashe was born, well, I'm going to call his real name, Arthur Ashe Jr. Brother Ashe was born in Richmond, Virginia on July 10th, 1943. Growing up, Mr. Ashe was a small kid with the heart of a warrior. Like I said, he was small in stature, but, man, his heart was of a warrior, dog. A straight warrior, man. His mother passed away at the age of 6, but I'm gonna tell you, dog. Even though his mom passed away, he had a mother, a stepmom. His father remarried, but at the same time, dog, he still always felt that void of his mother, man. He always, that's what kept him really keeping him knowing to keep his mouth quiet, seeing what his dad had to go through, seeing the things that his dad had to sacrifice. It kind of shaped Arthur Ashe at an early age. He was the oldest brother. He had a brother that was younger than him, 5 years younger than him. I'm gonna tell you real quick about that dude. Johnny Ashe, man. Johnny. It was a point when, so in the schooling, Arthur Ashe went to West Point Military School, right? He went to UCLA, graduated, went to West Point. It was at a point where he would have to, once you go into the military, the school and like that, you have to do some time in the forces, right? So instead of him having to join the forces, his brother went, which is already in the military. I believe he was a Marine. He was already a Marine. He went back in and enlisted to go to war. He took that sacrifice, and that's just a testament of how they was raised to take a sacrifice for each other, for your brother, man. You know, if you he Johnny Ashe, he said that he saw that his brother was going to be a great person and going to be doing great things. He was like, I enjoyed the military. It wasn't all bad to me. So why not go back over there, serve for your country, and your brother gonna go out there and do what he's supposed to do for your country. And that's just a testament of how they was raised, bro, and how they was raised in their early years, man. Like I said, his mom passed away at the age of 6, dog. So that means his brother was only 1, when his mom passed. But at the age of 6, he had to carry that memory of his mom just so his brother can at least have some piece of it too, right? He had to do that for his mom, man. That's amazing, dog. We flowing right now. That's amazing, bro. But he had to learn at an early age to sacrifice things, man. I'm gonna tell you, dog. His father managed. They stayed on a park. They stayed near a park, like on a park property. So his father managed the landscape of the park. So Arthur saw an opening where, my dad is managing this park, this popular park. There's all this open space here at this park. There's also tennis courts at this park. So why not go and practice tennis? So he had 4 tennis courts at his disposal that he can go play at any time he wanted to. And Arthur did not shy away from taking that advantage, man. He took every advantage of that he could, man. Every advantage of it. They said Arthur would be up at late at night just playing tennis, man. Just playing, just serving, going back and forth. Just going back and forth, practicing, right? Attention to details. Making those sacrifices to go and playing with your friend. Now I gotta be out here on the tennis court, serving, man, doing what he supposed to do, dog. That's one time for him for that one, man. But as you could probably imagine, being black, he was born in Richmond, Virginia. Like I said, Virginia, even though it's in the north, it's in the south. Even though it's a little bit northern, it's northern in Florida, Georgia, all us down here, Carolina, but it's in the south, right? It's still in the south, man. So he had to grow up around a lot of a lot of racism. Especially being born in '43, man. A lot of racism, dog. A lot of racism, man. And that did not stunt his growth, dog. That did not stunt his growth, bro. Arthur took that racism that he saw every day in the schools, every day that he saw in Richmond, Virginia. He took that and flipped it on him. He totally flipped it on him, man. He would learn. You'll see later on. You hear later on how he used that thought process that he had to learn at an early age by dealing with these type of folks into his early growing up, his early grown years. He passed away, unfortunately, at an early age. But going into his grown years, he kind of realized, all right, I can use that same thing that I learned when I was a kid with dealing with these folks in my later years, man. But Arthur faced all types of roadblocks as a teen. Arthur Ashe Jr. faced his oppositions, like I said, at an early age. Many of the courts, even though his dad worked at that park, many of the courts that he tried to go play in at the clubs, as you can think, just like golf, man, these clubs were prestigious clubs to their eyes, and they wouldn't let African Americans play in their clubs, right? So Arthur Ashe, he said, man, I don't like that, dog. And just as I said, like he handled those racist people in Richmond, Virginia, he had to handle the people with this. And you'll hear later on, he used the same initiative that he did with this and took it on to his later years, man, and did a great job with it, man. But this taught Arthur at an early age that even though his skin tone is darker than everybody else, even though his fro is high, his hair is high, it sticks up higher than everybody else, it's going to make people view him a little bit differently. Instead of thinking the races as roadblocks, Arthur made, man, like good book, the Bible say, make your enemies your footstools. Make your enemies your footstools. And Arthur was a true testament to that, man. Now you team Arthur's approach to tennis, right? And then you team that with the approach that he took to taking down these racist people in Richmond, Virginia, and really not paying attention to him, just beating them with his racket. I'm gonna tell you, his racket caused havoc around the city, man. His racket caused havoc, dog. I'm gonna get into a little bit of his matches real quick, then we'll go back to the initiative and the main reason why I wanted you to hear about Arthur Ashe, man. So Arthur Ashe, out of all the opponents he had, the one he could not beat was James Conner. James Conner was a man who let Arthur tell it, man. God bless David. Let Arthur tell it. James was smart, right? But James was mouthy. Now, James was at this time in Wimbledon, 1975. He was actually suing Arthur Ashe, an association of tennis professionals. Now, he was suing them. I think, that's not digging in the ashtray. Catch on Fridays, but I think he did not like that Arthur Ashe was the president of this association, and he was the head man in this association, and he was like, "Why can't I be it?" And other things, the same thing, kind of things probably that Brother Arthur Ashe had to fight up there in Richmond, Virginia, was the same reasons why he ain't think Arthur Ashe was qualified to be the president of this. But you can feel that way, but I am though, right? So Arthur Ashe was a president, man, and I think that upset James Conner, right? So he would get mouthy, he wouldn't join them. He would say, same thing. Arthur Ashe was big on fighting for it. Like he couldn't play at those tennis courts, so he was big on fighting for, if I'm going to this country, I should be able to play. I shouldn't have to see all this segregation. A lot of the players in America some of the players in America didn't like that, and I believe James Conner was one of them. But James Conner was in the middle of that lawsuit with Arthur Ashe and the Association of Tennis Professionals. So Arthur Ashe, he kind of knew, all right, his mind might be a little bit somewhere else right now, right? This might be my chance to beat him. So Arthur also, he tells a story. I was watching one of his interviews today, man. I was watching one of his interviews today, and he kind of told, it was on the Dick Cavett show. I heard of Dick Van Dyke and Dick Clark and all them. I never heard of Dick Cavett, man, but he was on the Dick Cavett show, and he kind of told what it is, why it took him so long to beat this dude. So, and over there in Italy, he was like, for one, where Italy is, people don't realize Italy is the same height in the same place as New York is in America. They're on the same axis, right? The same. If you draw them across, they almost be point, right? They're on the same height and everything. So it was in the middle, and it was cold over there, right? At the time when they were playing, it was like 65 degrees, he was saying. And he was saying that you got to think, it's like playing 65 degrees in the middle of New York, dog. You're going to be cold. It's going to be a little bit chilly, windy. It's going to be a little bit chilly up there. And that's what he had to face. So he was like, for one, you got to go through that. He was like, for two, over there, they use Pirelli tennis balls. And I don't know if they still use it, but at that time they were using Pirelli tennis balls. If you keep in mind about what Pirelli is a tire. So they were using basic performance tennis balls, right? So these tennis balls were a little bit heavier, and they were a little bit more solid than a regular tennis ball, a Wilson tennis ball. So Arthur Ashe said he put all that in consideration, and he knew, all right, I'm gonna have to use all my strength to hit this, right? Mind you, I told you he was a little dude, scrawny dude, right? I'm gonna have to use all my strength, and he gonna wear me out, right? So Arthur Ashe also said, being the mathematician, being the smart man, going to West Point, UCLA, he had his mind, right? And he joked about it on the Dick Cavett show. He was like, I don't know if James really thought as deep as I did about this, but Arthur Ashe said that he actually said, okay, well, if the ball is a little bit heavier, if the ball's a little bit bigger than the other balls, what I can do is get a bigger racket. I don't want to use a smaller racket, because the force of it is not going to be able to spread out that much, right? So I'm going to use a bigger racket. When that ball hits it, the racket is basically going to absorb that shock to it, right? And I was like, dog, this brother smart, man. This brother smart, dog. But he used that to his advantage, and he beat James Conner, man. He beat James Conner and became the first African American to win Wimbledon, man. The first African American to win Wimbledon, dog. And I'm gonna tell you, man, that was a turning point. That was a turning point in not only America. That was a turning point, not only his career, but that was a turning point in America, dog. Nobody had done that before. Nobody had seen anybody like Arthur Ashe that can just come in there and do what he's supposed to do, not bother anybody, not talk all that talk, but go in there and do what he's supposed to do and win the match, man. And that's what Arthur Ashe had did. That's what Arthur Ashe did, dog. So that's the match really that I really, really, really wanted to talk about. He persevered, bro. He persevered, dog. He persevered in that match, bro. It was a long match. He had faced him a couple times before and could not beat the dude, but this time they saw it fit, man, for him to win this one, man. He saw it fit to win this one, dog. But let's go on to the message, man, and really the reason why I wanted to talk about this episode, talk about this and Arthur Ashe with you on this episode, man. So let's go on to this next part. All right, so the main reason I wanted you to hear about Arthur Ashe today was not only about his matches. Me telling you about his matches, you know, even though it's a podcast, it's almost like a radio. We ain't living in the 30s. You don't listen to me tell you play by play of this, dog. Go back and watch some of his matches, man, and just look at the determination of Arthur Ashe's eyes, dog. But the main reason why I wanted to talk about Arthur Ashe today was because I'm gonna tell you, dog, this dude was a strong dude, man. Was a dude that he walked the walk, dog, and he talked the talk, man. Every day in life, we try to do that, dog. But Arthur Ashe truly, 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 truly did it, man. I'm gonna tell you a couple things, reasons why I really think he did it, dog, and the reason why I really think anybody that gets into athletics, anybody, man, any kids that's listening out, man, just try to look up Arthur Ashe, man, and try to approach the game like Brother Ashe did, dog. I'm gonna tell you, in 1960, it was 1968. Arthur Ashe was approached right during the 1968 Olympics in New Mexico. I don't know if that's if those of y'all that are historians, athletic historians or sports historians, if you know, or just people who know stuff, you know that 1968. That's when they raised their fist. John Carlos and Tommy Smith raised their fist up on the podium, and that was kind of a shock across the nation. What people don't know is that they also asked Arthur Ashe to raise his fist as well, in solidarity. Brother Ashe said, "I understand what you want. I understand the initiative that you got going. I understand what you're trying to do, but that's not me. That's not me." Um, and I'm not gonna lie, bro. Some of them was mad. Some of them was mad. I ain't gonna lie. If I had seen that, and I was of age I am right now, 31, and I was that age back then in 68, I would have said, man, why you ain't raising your fist? You know what I'm saying? Just like almost with the kneeling thing. Oh man, that's good. Good talk, man. Good talk. We flowing. But almost like the kneeling thing, man. Like, why you ain't raise your fist? It's just three of y'all. You raise your fist too. But Arthur Ashe actually said that he couldn't do it, dog. And Dr. Henry Edwards, a sociologist and civil rights activist at the time, asked him to do it, and he was like, "Man, you're Uncle Tom, man. You're Uncle Tom, bro. Why in the world you won't do it?" So Arthur was like, "It's not my fight, man. That's not how I fight." Going back to that military UCLA training and schooling, that he knew that's not how I can attack this. Me doing that ain't gonna do nothing but cause a bunch of police brutalities back in the state. A bunch of people ain't gonna shun us, and I ain't gonna be able to do what I need to do, which he did in 1975, like I told you, and won the Wimbledon. He knew if I do this, I ain't gonna be able to do that, right? So you got to be able to pick your battles sometimes, man. And Arthur Ashe was very smart in picking his battles, dog. He chose not to stand in solidarity with them, but at the same time, they said when they got back to America and they watched the news, they said they got back home and they watched the news. They said they saw him on like Face the Nation, something like that, thing of that nature, and they said he was on there talking that talk. The same talk that they raised their fist on, Arthur was talking that talk to them in their face across the nation, right? Across the nation, face across the nation. Everybody, I believe they used to come on Sunday mornings. I used to watch it sometimes. We used to come on Sunday mornings, like around 10 or 9, and you'll sit there and watch, and they'll be talking, giving a little spiel about the news of the week. And they'll sometimes have a guest on. Arthur Ashe was a guest that day. And he told them to their face about the incidents that he doesn't like in America. How can you have me over here, out here fighting, doing what I'm supposed to do, playing tennis, trying to win championships for America, and then my people still getting treated like this? My brother going over here to the military to fight these wars, and my people still getting treated like this. And Arthur Ashe was talking that talk to him, man. And that's when they realized, oh, Arthur different. Arthur ain't like he ain't like all that other stuff. You think, okay, he got that testosterone in him. He an athlete. Nah, Arthur like I'm gonna play it smart with him. I'm gonna play it smart, man. So message number one I got for those of you listening, man, play it smart, bro. You ain't got to be the aggressive, loud talking, obnoxious, all that, dog, just to say make people think that you smart. You ain't got to do that, man. Hold your ground and do what you supposed to do, bro. Beat him with talk. I got an uncle that he does. I've never heard him cuss. He'll tell you off in just a way that just articulate way, bro. Say articulate, being articulate to beat muscles any day, dog. Anybody can beat somebody up. But to out talk a dude, man, and talk that talk to a dude to make him feel, you got to be a smart brother, a smart person to do that, man. You got to be a smart person, intelligent, smart with your wits, dog. So then you ain't got to be no big strong. Even if you're not that, dog, you ain't got to be that. Be smart in them books, man. Be smart with your work, dog. And that's the one message I got for you, dog. The other message I got for you today, dog, the other message I got for you today, man, is just understand going along with that, going along with the not having to out talk people and not having to show your muscles and all that to be the bigger man, but use your mind. But also remember your place where you at, right? Remember where you at. Arthur, that's one thing I respect, man. I respect. And while we can congratulate Serena Williams right now for announcing that she will retire soon, but that's one thing that I can respect, dog, is that Arthur Ashe, he played it smart, bro. He played it smart, and he knew it was gonna be people behind me. Had he raised his fist, he wouldn't have been able to win Wimbledon. He wouldn't have been able to tear down those roadblocks that were placed up there, man. He wouldn't have been able to do that. He played it smart. He played it smart and knew it was other people. I'm in line getting my plate right now. They putting the mashed potatoes, putting the gravy on top. They got nice turkey, some yams. Got a little pig on there too, man. Little beef, little piece on there. But I'm eating good right now. But I know it's a sister behind me. It's a brother behind me that got his plate and he salivate. He ain't ate all month. All year he ain't ate. He hungry. I ain't finna go in here and mess up this brother plate being stupid, dog. So remember that too when you go into these people classrooms, when you go into these people jobs, when you into a room, it's somebody else out there waiting to eat too, man. Somebody else with their plate ready to eat, dog. Remember that as you go into these classrooms, man. Remember that, dog. I just, like I said, I want to be real in and out with you. I don't really be too long, man. But I just want to touch bases with you, man, and bring this new series to you, dog. I really appreciate y'all for rocking with me. It was a great episode, man. A little in and out with you, like I said, man. I ain't really want to talk about it, but Arthur Ashe, he passed away February 6th, 1993. He passed away of AIDS. It's kind of sad, dog. I didn't want to announce, but you can't end the episode without telling what happened, man. But Arthur Ashe passed away on February 6th, 1993. He had a wife. He passed away with his wife, his daughter Camera. That's a awesome name. His wife was I forgot her name, but his wife was a camera person. She was a news person for NBC. His wife, they had a daughter. They adopted a daughter, and named her Camera, because of his wife's position at NBC. But yeah, he passed away of AIDS. And it's really sad, man. It's not conspiracy, but it's really sad. How he passed. Just do your research on that. But her name was Janae Ashe. His wife, Jean Ashe, Janae, it's Janae or Janae or something like that. It's how they spell Janae. It's kind of weird. But hey, but Sister Ashe, is what we're gonna call it today. But he died in 1993, February 6th of AIDS. It's sad, man, not to be conspiracy, but it is really sad. If you team up with what I told you about Arthur Ashe and his past and the initiatives that he done, even helping Mandela, man, and apartheid, man, in South Africa, but even doing stuff like that, it might have been a target on his chest, dog. But not being conspiracy theory, but unfortunately, he passed away in 1993 of a blood transfusion. Well, he passed away of AIDS, but he contracted AIDS by a blood transfusion that he had because his dad had heart problems. His dad actually died of a heart attack, but his dad had heart problems, which actually Arthur knew that, and while he was playing, the reason why he had to beat James Conner in 1975 is because he was 32 at the time, I believe, and he knew he was getting old in age. James Conner was 25 though. He beat a young dude, right? He beat a young dude, but he knew he was getting older. He knew he had already been in the hospital for his heart. Sometimes he knew his heart was getting weaker and weaker because he was getting up in age. So he went to have a procedure done and got a blood transfusion, contracted AIDS. Didn't tell anybody about it. And I think he lived with it for 4 or 5 years. Passed away, but when he told people about it, it's so sad because HBO, the people he worked for, HBO Sports, they actually knew about him having AIDS. I don't know how they knew, but they knew, everybody that worked knew he had AIDS, but they didn't treat him any different, man. That's just a testament of the type of dude. Now, and this is 1993 when people were so afraid of AIDS and HIV, and he had full blown, dog, full blown. But people were scared of it. They still didn't treat Arthur any different, man. They still didn't treat Arthur because they knew Arthur, the dude, was A1 with it, man. He might have AIDS, but Arthur the dude is A1 with it, dog. So we're not gonna think any less of him. And they treated him like a man, man. They treated him like a man and with respect throughout his last days, dog. But Arthur Ashe, dog, I'm gonna tell you, man, just a testament, true dude, man, true dude that I would like to walk like, dog. I would like all the people that I know to walk like, to do as they should, just like Arthur did as he should, man. So that's another great episode, dog. You can always catch Smokescreen Podcast. Go back to listen to any episode. Even though the episodes are, you go back and listen to one 2020, dog. Even though it's back in 2020, my episodes aren't dated. The only thing that's dated is Smokescreen. Is digging in the ashtray. That's the only thing that's dated. Everything else isn't dated. You can go back and listen whenever you want to. Sometimes I go back. I was listening to Everyday Casino the other day, dog, and I did that back in 2020, like November 2020, man. Just things I was going through, and then just hearing how far I've come, knowing how far I've come, dog. But you can go back and listen to any episode of Smoke Screen. We got good episodes coming up for you. Monday morning, Tarif Knockout is gonna talk about his journey. Just good work, dog. He does, dog. But another great episode, man. I appreciate y'all. Aftermath coming back to you soon, man. Football season coming up, dog. And listen, man. Listen. For all y'all kids out there, man, going to school, bro, pay attention to your teachers, dog. Please pay attention, man. My nephews, y'all pay attention, right? Cousins, y'all pay attention. Everybody pay attention, man, to your teachers, dog. They trying to teach you and lead you somewhere, right? Parents, let me holler at you real quick. I'm going to tell you something now. I was sitting there thinking before I press record on this. So, you remember how we went through 9/11, right? I was in 5th grade, went through 9/11. I remember the teacher bringing in the TV, not knowing what the heck was going on. You know what I'm saying? But I remember the scared look on my teacher's face, Miss Vicks. I remember the scared look on my mama's face when she came to pick me up, not knowing what was going on, right? I remember missing football practice, flag football practice. Shout out to Coach Stanley. I remember missing football practice that day, man. But I was thinking, man, all this that we going through, these kids scared, bruh. They don't know what's next. They don't know what's gonna happen next, man. Everything that is going on with this virus and different things going on in the world, man. These kids scared, just like we were scared on September 11th, 2001. These little kids, they scared too, man. Just think if we had 9/11 almost 3 years straight, bro. You'll be scared. Your nerves would be kind of bad too, right? So think about that, man. As your kid gets home from school, he wants to just talk to him, man. Just sit down and talk to him, dog. In the morning, you take him to school, sit down and talk to him, dog. Talk to him in the mornings, man. And be there, be a listening ear to him, dog. Be a listening ear and an active listener. Just don't listen. Be an active listener to him, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's just smoke to you, man. Just be an active listener to your kid, man, and listen, man. Even if you ain't got listen to your nephew, listen to your little cousins. Ask them how their school when you went, man. Ask them how their school day went, dog. Let them know that you care, bro. Cause I'm gonna tell you, just like we used to go to school and talk about, man, my mama whooped my behind last night. My mama tore my behind up. These kids, they got the smarts now. They saying, man, my mama don't listen to nothing I say. My daddy don't listen to nothing I say. You know what I'm saying? Think about that stuff, man. Think about that, dog. Put your mind in their shoes sometimes. You wish your mama put her mind in your shoes, didn't she? So put your mind in their shoes sometime, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. Smoke Screen Podcast, man. Soul Volley. Black Sun. Next in September, I got a good one for you, dog. I got a good one. I got a good one for you. I'm just gonna let you know about that one. That one gonna be a music artist, man. But I got a good one for you, dog. But that's another great episode, dog. Appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. Let me know how you like these episodes with this episode. Also, check me on Saturdays, man. We grilling. We grilling, dog. We grilling, bro. Check me out on Saturdays on YouTube, man. Smoke Screen Podcast, man. Always check it out. Spread the word, man. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. Make sure you shop with creative designs and more. My mother-in-law, Miss Wanda, get you right, man, all the time, man. Make sure you check her out, Creative Designs and More. Also, see Wanda B on TikTok, man. I appreciate y'all. Let me know how you liking this episode, dog. Hey, it fell upon my heart, dog. When he in your presence, you gotta let him use you, man. You gotta let him use you. And remember, we just vessels out here. We just vessels. I got to end this episode off with Lord Do It by Reverend James Cleveland, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Another great episode. Appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all. Y'all have a good week, man. Y'all kids. Hey, Bell, do the buck. Y'all do what y'all supposed to do, man. Jada, do what you supposed to do. Jacob, Tahila, do what y'all supposed to do. All y'all do what y'all supposed to do, man. Love y'all. Y'all be easy.